Subscribe to the channel now because what we're about to cover is one of those overlooked wartime realities that completely changes how you think about survival, logistics, and modern convenience gear. If you're serious about history, preparedness, or understanding how people actually lived and ate under pressure, this is essential knowledge. And it's knowledge most modern campers and preppers never encounter. Why wartime cooks solved problems modern campers still struggle with. When people picture World War II, they think of tanks, rifles, and uniforms. Almost nobody thinks about how millions of soldiers were fed day after day under shell fire, in mud, snow, and heat. Yet feeding troops was not a side issue. It was central to morale, stamina, and operational success. Field kitchens were not improvised gadgets. They were carefully designed systems refined by necessity, not marketing. Unlike modern camp stoves built for speed and portability, World War II field kitchens were built for reliability, scalability, and long-term use under hostile conditions. That design philosophy is why they still outperform many modern setups in real survival scenarios. How the World War II field kitchen was a system, not a gadget. A World War II field kitchen wasn't just a stove, it was an integrated cooking arrangement designed to function as a unit. Whether German, British, Soviet or American, most armies used enclosed or semi-enclosed cooking units with multiple pots, fire chambers, heat channels and insulation. Heat was distributed efficiently rather than blasted upward like most modern burners. This meant multiple dishes could be cooked simultaneously using the same fire. Soups, stews, bread and hot drinks could all be prepared at once without juggling fuel canisters or adjusting tiny valves. For a survivalist today, this teaches a critical lesson. Efficiency comes from layout and heat management, not high-tech fuel. Why solid fuel and scavenged materials mattered more than convenience. Modern camp stoves rely on refined fuels, propane, butane, alcohol, or proprietary canisters. World War II field kitchens were designed to burn almost anything. Wood, coal, peat, dried dung, scrap lumber, even broken furniture were usable. Fireboxes were deep, shielded from wind, and optimized for slow, consistent burn rather than quick ignition. In practical terms, this meant a unit could operate indefinitely as long as combustible material existed. If you're preparing for grid down or long-term disruptions, this matters. A brick rocket stove, trench stove, or enclosed firebox modelled on World War II designs will outlast any canister stove once supply chains fail. So, let's talk about how cooking volume and morale were really engineered together. One of the most underestimated aspects of the Second World War field kitchen was, honestly, its psychological impact. Hot, filling meals were non-negotiable, even near the front lines. Large pots allowed for bulk cooking, which meant food was shared, consistent and predictable. That sort of predictability stabilized morale. Now, modern camping often emphasizes individual meals cooked quickly and eaten alone, right? But the wartime approach prioritized communal eating, which conserved fuel and, more importantly, built cohesion. Practically applying this today means cooking one large pot of stew or porridge instead of multiple small meals. It saves fuel, reduces cooking time, and, well, creates a rhythm that people can depend on in stressful conditions. Why did heat retention beat speed every single time? Modern stoves sell speed. Boil water in, 3 minutes? But Second World War kitchens sold endurance. Thick metal walls, lids, and insulated chambers trapped heat for hours. Once hot, these kitchens stayed hot. That allowed simmering rather than constant refueling. For a prepper, this translates into designing cook systems that retain heat. Using heavy cast iron, earth ovens, insulated fire pits, or covered trench stoves really replicates this principle. Instead of chasing fast boils, aim for sustained heat. You'll cook more food with less fuel, exactly as wartime cooks did under constant shortages. So, what can modern survivalists actually copy from World War II layouts? Well, you don't need a replica field kitchen to put this knowledge to use. Start by separating your fire source from your cooking surface and use channels or gaps to guide the heat more efficiently. Always build some wind protection around your fire. That's absolutely key. Try cooking multiple items over one heat source, instead of, resetting fires for each dish. Use lids religiously. They really make a difference. Preheat your pots whenever you can, and of course position your fuel storage nearby, but make sure it's protected. Those old World War II kitchens were set up so cooks moved efficiently, wasting no steps at all. In a modern camp or bug-out scenario, organising your cooking area with intention, rather than improvising every meal, can dramatically improve both your efficiency and your safety. Now, let's talk about why redundancy and repairability mattered more than lightweight design back then. Sure, World War II equipment was heavy, but it was also repairable. Hinges could be bent back into shape, cracks could be patched, and if a fire grate broke, it could be replaced with a bit of scrap metal. Compare that to many modern ultralight stoves, which often fail catastrophically and just can't be fixed in the field. The wartime mindset accepted a bit of weight in exchange for longevity. For serious survivalists, this really suggests choosing or building cooking systems that can be repaired with basic tools. Honestly, a welded steel stove beats a titanium burner when replacement parts simply don't exist. So, what does all this teach us about real preparedness? Not just weekend camping. The biggest lesson from World War II field kitchens is that survival cooking is about continuity, not convenience. These systems were designed to function every single day, in all weather, for months or even years. They assumed failure, scarcity, and a fair bit of stress. Modern camp stoves, on the other hand, assume resupply and ideal conditions. If you're preparing for real disruption, you should study the wartime approach. Build for fuel flexibility, cook communally, retain heat, and design your layouts intentionally. That's exactly why these old systems still outperform modern gear when conditions stop being comfortable. If you found this breakdown useful, do subscribe to The Prepper Historian, share this video with fellow history buffs and preparedness-minded friends, and keep these lessons alive. Wartime knowledge isn't obsolete, it's proven.